in Geneva, Switzerland, and it is day 3 of Vitafoods Europe. It has been an amazing event. I'm Heather Granato, I'm the Vice President of Content, and with me is my amazing editor.
I'm Natalia, Franca-Rocha, Content and Conference Manager.
And we have had a great time here with our audience, as well as our online audience. There's been a ton of content. We've made our way around the expo hall. We wanted to bring you some of our top takeaways. One thing that I want you to know, this has been a fantastic experience. We have had representation from 126 countries. We have 700 exhibitors. Our numbers are actually record-setting, and it's exciting walking around and seeing people smile. The number of hugs that I've had at this show has been huge, and it's great to get our nutraceutical community back together. I think after a couple of very challenging years, it reminds you how important it is to get back and reconnect with people. And certainly one of the things that we talked about at this show was the trend of mental well-being, mental health. I think it was hard for all of us over the last couple of years. We had a number of different programs, from our keynote with Joseph Firth, who talked about micronutrient supplementation, things like omega-3s and the research that has been done around omega-3s. GoEd actually debuted a new database that's a scientific database, all the research that's been done on omega-3s, where you can really dive in and see what the science is on the ingredient, which I think is fantastic and is really bringing more science to bear in our industry. We had some sessions from Martin Oxley and Isabella Davis, and a lot of ingredients at the show. So you saw Stern Vitamin actually had some micronutrient premixes like Stern Mind and Stern De-Stress. I walked around and saw Indina did a new release of Relissa, which is a lemon balm polyphenol. We also had a number of ingredients that were mentioned by the herbal pharmacist, David Foreman. He talked a lot about the power of adaptogens. There's a lot of ashwagandha at this show. I think it's interesting to think about the sourcing and to ask for the science and what's been done. Certainly ingredients like L-theanine for sleep, you've got saffron, and then you also get into the cognition. At the same time, there was a lot of attention to the regulatory compliance sessions for mental well-being. So doing that claims development and making sure that your claims are in compliance. If you didn't make it, we do have those sessions available online, so you can check that out. Now, Natalia, I think you also saw some interesting ingredients for mental well-being, that's stress and anxiety.
Yes, absolutely. Going around the show, even in the startup pavilion, there were many products with the keywords sleep, anxiety, stress. That is definitely a bigger focus on the mental wellness these days. And it's fitting because it's Mental Health Awareness Month and Mental Health Awareness Week coming as well. So it's good to see that it's taken it's taken its importance for us, for the industry, and for the consumers as well. They are much more aware of their overall holistic well-being, which was also highlighted in our Innova Marketing Sites presentation by Nicole Janssen. And speaking of sleep, stress, anxiety, that connects well with the gut-brain axis, which also was a key focus highlighted by Nicole in her presentation and other presentations as well. Jennifer Cooper also had a presentation highlighting the microbiome. There was many presentations actually highlighting specific strengths of the microbiome, and it seems that consumers look more than the keyword of microbiome. They are much more aware of specific strengths. They are becoming much more educated in how the microbiome evolves and changes through life. So that touches a bit even on the aspect of diet, health aging, personalized, and sports nutrition. And sports nutrition was also another really obvious trend across the exhibition hall. It seems there is a lot of innovation, not only on alternative proteins, but to fit specific lifestyles such as keto, and just to fit lifestyles of consumers. But also another trend that I saw was beauty from within, and I believe you have some insights on that.
I do have some beauty from within, yes. Now, certainly you saw a ton of collagen at this show. Not unexpected, but collagen's been out for a while. I did stop by, saw my friends at BioCell. They gave me some extra collagen to take home. And I like their product because it does have clinical research. We had a session by Mark Miller in the platform talking about IKEA, why collagen supplements are like IKEA furniture. And the idea is, how are you actually going to put these together? Are they really the building blocks that you need? But beauty from within, you also saw, like Orzax had this private label collagen that they did that was day-to-day collagen beauty and serum. We also saw collagen boosters, and there was a little bit of controversy at our tasting bar because we had it was wrongly labeled, and the company has addressed this, a vegan collagen. It was not vegan collagen, it was a vegan collagen booster. There was not bovine collagen in it. But I think this is one of these issues of transparency, and the Collagen Stewardship Alliance is doing a lot to bring attention to the importance of knowing the ingredients, speaking about them, and looking for the science. Some other cool things, we had a lot of hyaluronic acid. We saw Rousselot did a new collagen for skin and hair. Nexira had an ingredient in their NutriBeauty range of products. And I like this idea that they're really doing gene expression assessment and a model that has kind of bioavailability. You also had powder-based all-in-one nutricosmetics concepts from Stern, including a detox booster for inner cleansing. So truly beauty from within, trying to clean you inside to out, I think. As you were saying also on the sports nutrition side of things, it's not just sports, I think it's also active. So it's a lot of active lifestyle, not just how big am I going to get and how long am I going to be able to perform. Euromed had some new extracts in that category. We also saw, and you mentioned plant-based here, Alzchem talked about CreaPure as a go-to ingredient for plant-based alternatives. So if you're vegan or vegetarian and you're not getting creatine in your diet, this is an addition you can put into plant-based products. To me, that was a really unique way of extending the market for what has been an ingredient that's been around, but instead you're putting it into a whole new world, so to speak. So yeah, also, I did want to call out the Tasting Center winner for beverage from Creamy Creation, which is a high-protein, vegan chocolate, ready to drink, so plant-based and allergen-free, which to me, the plant-based thing is certainly big. We're just seeing that more and more. Fats also, NutriGlow from Bunge was an interesting one on MCTs. So really a lot happening across the show floor. But I will say some of the most interesting innovation was happening in our startup innovation pavilion, which I think you took some good time to walk through.
Yes, I absolutely did. I love going through the innovation, so it was really cool to go through them. But before we actually talk a little bit of the startup innovations, you mentioning about the vegan trend, it reminded me on the regulatory aspect as well, how it was emphasized, the government, for example, Roberta representing the UK, she really emphasized how the UK government is pushing and incentivizing and making funding available for companies to tackle that space. So it seems it's a very exciting area. We will touch upon a little bit later in the sustainability, but it also links with that. So it's not just about the vegan consumers, it's about the flexitarian, sustainability conscious consumers, and also just bringing some innovation as well, which is cool to see. I know in the tasting center there was the insect bar, which was very fun to see, and everyone I talked with, they said, oh, it doesn't taste like insect. I mean, I don't know what insects should taste like, but it tastes like protein. Yes. So that's cool to see that. But within the startup pavilion, it was great to see microalgae being collaborated on with the universities, so it goes back into what you were saying about products being backed by science and have that really scientific foundation to bring new offerings to consumers. And something I found really cool as well from Pedori pump. They had a product called O Airy, which tackles air pollution. And we live in big cities this day, pollution is everywhere, and they have a supplement formulated that neutralizes the negative effects of air pollution. I personally thought that was really cool. I haven't seen anything like that before. And I mean, I can literally go through all the notes on the startups. They have a lot. We also had Divats representing Sect Protein Solutions, also partnered and with universities. So that's really cool to see. And another thing that was really interesting was Zion Healthcare. They have a product called Colic Care, and it tackles colic for babies. And it's also, they run a clinical trial. It's a short few weeks, but it was with babies, and they were saying that the results show that after a few weeks taking, it really improved the colic. And
babies aren't going to lie to you about that.
Yeah, they are not. So that's exciting to see that. And we will also touch on sustainability, but they have a goal to, by the end of 2023, have everything to be fully recyclable. They were honest, going back to transparency. They have no idea how they'll reach that, but that's the goal. So that's cool to see. And something else that took notion was the concept of precision fermentation. I mean, there is so much potential in the industry. We are seeing much more about it, and the startup highlighting it was Biosynthia, and they were just EFSA approved as well, which is really cool for a startup. And yeah.
Exciting stuff, and I love the idea that they have the EFSA approval, because the regulatory sessions that were on the main stage were packed. People really are interested in doing it right, like getting the right regulatory information. So whether that's Roberta or Ian or Hans Verhagen, we really brought in a number of folks who could speak to that. One of the innovations that I actually had a chance to learn about was DSM works with hologram sciences, and they have actually rolled out, and I wrote this down because I loved it, Phenology. So this is a women's health brand for menopause support. So you do at-home hormone testing, in-app coaching, and you have products like a gummy supplement regimen for addressing hot flashes or a cooling mist that you can use. And James Bowley, who's their Chief Development Officer, was part of our personalized nutrition discussion on the main stage, and really looking at what is it going to take to commercialize personalized nutrition. Some of what Rick Miller from Intel and Isabella Davis from Nutrition Business Advisors talked about was how fast this is happening. The number of tests, and their thing was, okay, we haven't had in-home tests, but all of a sudden the last 2 years, we've become really comfortable with sticking things up our noses and doing tests. This is accelerating consumer adoption and willingness to do testing and get the information. DSM has also done this with vitamin D. And so you take their special vitamin D and you receive 2 tests. So you can do one at the beginning and one at the end. So you're actually improving compliance and providing something very tangible. So this idea of personalized nutrition and commercial aspects of it, the manufacturing is going to be the hard part. I'm not sure how we're going to be able to manufacture at scale, but 10 years from now, I'll probably be looking back at this video and saying, oh gosh, I didn't even think that that was going to be the solution, and yet it is. So personalized nutrition was definitely a hot topic for me. But let's wrap things up with a discussion about sustainability, because it was a big buzz around this show.
It was. I mean, we had a really amazing keynote opening by Chris Kilham. He talked about people, places, and the planet, of course. And it was really interesting. He went around the world, basically, the Amazon, Peru, Africa, literally around the world. There are ingredients. And he really focused on when it's ready to harvest. And something that actually I found really interesting, he mentioned that a lot of, the smaller producers and more isolated producer, they don't have the resources to, for example, become certified obtain the organic certification. However, they are organic, and he gave a message to the companies out there, resourcing from them. If you want your product to be organically certified, take the cost off the producers, because they don't have the financial resources. So take the cost off from them, and I'm sure it will be a better synergy of working from them as well. And we had regulation talk from Roberta. I was mentioning before, veganism and plant-based alternatives. It's huge in the UK. The government is really pushing for it. They are looking for partners, which was actually really cool, because the other speaker, Ian, they are already connecting and looking to see where is, for the collaboration, because he works in Newcastle, but he's also connected with the University of Northumbria. So it's very interesting. It's really cool to see the industry being driven like that. And of course, that is the same drivers for Europe and other parts of the world, because sustainability, it goes back to climate change is real, so the industry must address it, not just the nutraceutical industry, but all of the other industries.
Right. Well, and it's a great way to kind of segue. So when we're talking sustainability, and particularly someone like Chris, who is looking the full supply chain, so often it's women who are the farmers and they're doing the gathering. And we see that across our entire industry, our nutraceutical industry. So I was really excited that we had the launch of Women in Nutraceuticals, hashtag Women in Nutraceuticals, womeninnutraceuticals.org, that we're coming together. And the intent is really to see more women in the C-suite, more women financing for women-led businesses, and more women in research. So had a great panel discussion with some powerhouse women across the industry talking about the challenges. Why are women falling off the management path? How do we actually bridge that gap? As well as a dialogue with Mike Dobvich from Nutrition Capital Network on how do you think differently about getting financing? How can you work with your suppliers? Could you extend me from 30 to 60 days on my terms? Creative solutions to financing to really help women get ahead in the nutraceutical industry. So very excited about what lies ahead for that in terms of sustainability and what it means to the nutraceutical space.
Absolutely. I mean, it's totally in the interest of the industry to push more for, woman power and getting them into those higher positions, because in that panel that you just mentioned, it was highlighted that actually companies led by females, they are more profitable. But it doesn't mean that you don't need a strong business case. So, very important, and actually it brings back to the sustainability. It was mentioned a lot of the berries that needs to be manually harvested. They are harvested by strong women. They literally need to climb those trees, so they are physically strong. So it all goes back to they have higher prices, and it was also a message for the industry. To remind themselves, pay a fair price. Don't, stop trying to get the cheapest deal, because the cheapest doesn't mean the better quality. And they are very, hardworking people, strong people, and they are the key to the industry, right? Without those ingredients, the product development wouldn't be pushed forward.
That's right. So I think that's our top things that we saw. I will give one final shout out to our winner at the Tasting Center for the food, which was the Top Gum Industries Vitamin C 350 milligrams. I also tried their 1,000 milligram, which was kind of like a Sour Patch, but I felt really great for the rest of the day with my 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. Any final words that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I would totally give the shout out to the last sustainability session, which was led by Frederick Zuhaidi, and he's from the GIZ, the German corporation. So shout out to that session. It has a special UN presence at the end. The Devil's Claw was exchanged, and the audience could actually see for many for the first time what the Devil Claws looks like, and that was super, super interesting. So definitely tune in into the session because it's worth watching.
Excellent. Well, Natalia, Women Power, Team Content.
Women Power.
Excellent. Thank you to our audience, and we'll see you next May in Geneva.